There's a paradox at the heart of human psychology that most people never understand. The less you care about something, the more power you have over it. While others become emotionally invested, desperate, and reactive, those who master calculated indifference operate from a position of psychological strength that makes them nearly impossible to manipulate or control. Today, we're going to explore why indifference is one of the most powerful psychological positions you can occupy, how caring too much weakens your position in any situation, and how to develop the selective emotional investment that gives you maximum influence with minimum vulnerability. The psychology of emotional investment: when you care deeply about an outcome, relationship, or situation, you become psychologically vulnerable because your emotional state depends on factors outside your control. This vulnerability can be sensed and exploited by others who understand that your emotional investment gives them leverage over you. People who are emotionally invested become predictable because their actions are driven by their need to protect what they care about. This predictability allows others to manipulate their behavior by threatening or promising things related to their emotional investments. Calculated indifference reverses this dynamic by removing the emotional hooks that others use to control your behavior. When you genuinely don't care about specific outcomes, you cannot be manipulated through promises or threats related to those outcomes. This emotional freedom allows you to make decisions based on logic and strategy rather than fear, hope, or desperation. The power of selective caring. Calculated indifference doesn't mean not caring about anything. It means being highly selective about what deserves your emotional investment. You care deeply about things that truly matter to your well-being, while remaining indifferent to everything else. This selectivity protects your emotional energy for situations where caring actually improves outcomes while preventing you from wasting energy on things beyond your control or unworthy of your investment. The key is distinguishing between what you can control and what you cannot, what serves your interests and what doesn't, and what deserves your emotional energy versus what should receive only strategic attention. Most people care about too many things, diluting their power and making themselves vulnerable to manipulation from multiple sources. Professional applications in workplace settings. Calculated indifference gives you enormous advantages in negotiations, conflicts, and career advancement. When you're not desperately attached to specific outcomes, you can negotiate more effectively because you're genuinely willing to walk away from bad deals. Colleagues cannot manipulate you through office politics because you don't care enough about workplace drama to be affected by rumors, alliances, or social pressure. Your indifference to others' opinions allows you to focus on actual performance rather than managing perceptions and seeking validation. In job interviews, appearing genuinely indifferent to whether you get the position often makes you more attractive, because desperation is repelling while confidence and options are attractive. Relationship dynamics in personal relationships. Calculated indifference protects you from manipulation by people who would exploit your caring nature. When you don't desperately need someone's approval or attention, they cannot control your behavior through withdrawing these things. This indifference often makes you more attractive because desperation and neediness are universally unappealing while confidence and independence are magnetic. In friendships, not caring too much about others' opinions allows you to be more authentic because you're not constantly adjusting your behavior to maintain their approval. The key is caring about people's well-being while being indifferent to their attempts to control you. Through emotional pressure, the paradox of attraction. One of the most powerful effects of calculated indifference is that it often makes people want your attention and approval more than they would if you were obviously eager to give these things. Humans naturally value what seems scarce while taking for granted what's easily available. Your indifference creates scarcity around your attention, making it more valuable to others. This dynamic works in professional contexts where being less eager for opportunities often leads to better offers, and in social situations where not trying to impress others often results in greater respect. The paradox is that by caring less about what others think, you often end up being thought of more highly. Strategic emotional detachment. Strategic emotional detachment involves maintaining enough psychological distance from situations to think clearly and act rationally while still being able to engage effectively when necessary. This detachment prevents you from making decisions based on emotional reactions that often lead to poor outcomes. You can assess situations objectively and choose responses that serve your interests, rather than just relieving emotional pressure. The detachment also makes you less reactive to others' emotional manipulation tactics, because you're not emotionally invested enough in their approval to be controlled by it. This doesn't mean being robotic, but rather processing emotions internally while maintaining external composure. Building genuine alternatives to indifference requires having genuine alternatives, so that your lack of caring reflects real options and genuine freedom to choose different paths. This means continuously developing skills, relationships, and opportunities that give you multiple ways to achieve your objectives, rather than depending on single sources for your success or happiness. Financial independence enhances your ability to be indifferent to job situations that don't serve your interests. Social confidence reduces your need for validation from specific individuals. The more genuine alternatives you have, the more authentic your indifference becomes, and the more powerful its psychological effects. Reading others' desperation and calculated indifference helps you recognize when others are operating from positions of emotional investment that you can use to your advantage. Desperate people reveal their emotional investments through their behavior, making them predictable. When someone desperately wants something from you, their desperation gives you leverage that can be used to improve outcomes for both parties. You can also recognize when others are trying to make you emotionally invested in outcomes that serve their interests rather than yours, allowing you to maintain your strategic position. Managing reactions to your indifference. When you practice calculated indifference, some people may become frustrated by their inability to manipulate you through emotional pressure. They might escalate their attempts to get reactions or accuse you of being cold. These reactions often indicate that your indifference is working. People who are accustomed to controlling you are losing their leverage and don't like it. Maintaining your indifference during these escalations often causes manipulative people to give up while earning respect from those who appreciate your emotional strength. The key is remaining indifferent to their attempts to make you care about their frustration. Avoiding nihilistic indifference is an important distinction between calculated indifference and nihilistic not caring. Calculated indifference is strategic and selective, designed to increase your effectiveness and protect your well-being. Nihilistic indifference shuts down caring entirely, often leading to depression and meaninglessness. This type reduces rather than increases your power. The goal is maintaining the ability to care deeply about things that matter while developing immunity to manipulation through things that don't matter or that you cannot control. Long-term strategic benefits over time. Calculated indifference builds a reputation for emotional strength that opens opportunities and improves relationships. People learn to approach you more respectfully because emotional manipulation doesn't work. Your decision-making improves because you're not constantly distracted by emotional reactions to situations beyond your control. You can focus energy on things that actually matter. Most importantly, you develop genuine confidence that comes from knowing you cannot be easily manipulated by others' emotional tactics. The ultimate freedom master calculated indifference, and you'll discover a level of personal freedom that most people never experience. You'll no longer be controlled by others' opinions, manipulated by emotional pressure, or driven by desperate attachment to outcomes. This freedom allows you to engage with life from a position of strength rather than neediness, making better decisions because you're choosing rather than grasping. When you stop caring about things that don't matter, you gain the power to influence things that do matter, creating the paradox where caring less gives you more of what's actually worth having.